Right, hello everyone. I hope you're all there. My name's Emma. I am the lead lecturer of A-Level Art at Hastings campus. And today I'm going to run through a very quick presentation on A-Level Art at Hastings. It's going to be very brief, then we'll have a Q&A at the end. But if you've got any questions after that, please do email me on the address that you'll find at on the last screen of the presentation. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's not moving. Give me a sec. Ah, there we go. Right, so first screen, about our team. So there's 4 key members of the teaching and support management team. We have Chantal Atelli, who's the head of curriculum. She's my line manager. And then there's me, Emma Pardy. I'm the lead lecturer of A-Level Fine Art and also graphics. And then I've got my colleague Charlotte Lambert, who is lead lecturer of photography, and she teaches on first year graphics. And then we've got lovely Lydia, who is our technician, and she supports all 3 courses, so art, graphics, and photography. So A-Level Fine Art at Hastings campus. During this 2-year course, you'll gain a broad understanding of fine art. You'll develop numerous practical and academic skills, refining your ability to develop your ideas and experiment with a wide range of materials while mastering a range of new techniques and processes. Some of those processes will include things like lino, dry points and screen printing. We'll explore ceramics and painting and drawing and sculpture and many other techniques and processes, some of which you would have started using at GCSE level, but obviously now it's A-level, we'll be taking it a lot further. You'll also develop an understanding of how artists use and manipulate media to realise their own intentions and to communicate their ideas and thoughts and feelings. Additionally, you'll research, analyse and recognise the context in which artworks have been created. Now, some of these things, again, you'll find similar to some of the aspects of GCSE, but this will be much more in-depth, much more sustained, and to a much more sophisticated level. So what's the entry criteria? Well, it's the general entry criteria is the same for the whole A-level programme at Hastings. So that's 5 GCSEs at grade C, that's a 4 or above. But that also must include or additionally include GCSE art at a grade 5 or above. What will you study? Well, it's a 2-year course. In the first year, you'll be very happy to know that there is no formal assessment. So the work you produce will not go towards your final grade in the first year. The first year is all about building and developing on your prior knowledge and understanding. You'll work through a variety of themes, initially in smaller projects, starting at 4-week projects, and then culminating in a larger personal project in the second term. You will develop your understanding and experience of a broad range of materials and techniques and processes through practical workshops, group work and individual tasks. Year 2 then is the year that you are assessed in. And it consists of 2 key components. One of them is a coursework component, which actually starts in the summer term of your first year. It ends in January in your second year. So it's a long component, and that is worth 60% of your overall grade. The second component is an externally set assignment. That theme is given to you by the exam board, but you're given about 12 choices to pick from, and you must pick one. And that's worth the remainder 40% of your overall grade. These are both projects then, long projects that you'll be working in. The second year focuses on refining skills, knowledge and understanding that you've gained in the first year. Component 1 is personally directed, which is important to understand. So the theme is decided upon by you with the support of your teachers. While component 2, like I said, is set by the exam board. So how are you assessed? Again, it's similar to GCSE, but at a more sophisticated and higher level. So there are 4 key assessment objectives, and I'll just quickly run you through them. AO1 we call contextual understanding, and that's about the way you research and develop ideas. That's about your ideas and your concepts, but it's also about your understanding of artists and their methods and their approaches and their ideas, and how you use that information to develop and inform your creative practices. It's also about sustained development, so systematic development of idea from an initial concept to a final realization. AO2 is a bit more straightforward. We call it creative making, and that's really just about how you explore and use appropriate materials, how you select those materials and how you use them and understand them with sophistication and skill and control. AO3 is reflective recording, and that covers a number of different areas. It's about the way you record ideas, observations, and insights that are relevant to your intentions. That can include anything from an initial mind map to photographs as a visual resource for your artwork, to documenting stages of your project and where you are with your ideas, and reflective kind of analytical exploration of where you're at and where you need to go. Finally, AO4 is your personal presentation, and that's your outcomes, your artwork, your final pieces of work, not just the absolute final pieces at the end of a project, but also your artwork that you produce that's more refined within a project, that's more developed from your initial experiments. So I'm going to show you a few examples of each of those assessment objectives now. Here we've got some examples of AO1. So it's that contextual understanding, it's that developing of ideas, and it usually starts very much with research. And here we've got 3 examples of students who have researched 3 different artists. They're understanding the context in which the artists have produced their artwork, but they're also analysing specific works of art, recognising techniques and processes, and commenting on the exploration of the formal elements in those works of art. So concepts like colour, space, composition, tone, layering. They're commenting on all these things. It's important to do that to analyse method and outcome. AO2, the creative making. Here we've just got some examples of various makings, so various explorations. At the top we have painting, bottom left we have it was installation. Again, these are all just experiments, not final outcomes. So this is a photograph and sculptural installation. Middle we have mixed media, and to the right, I'm not sure if you can see it under my picture, but we have some layered lino printing. Here we've got examples of reflective recording, and you can see a range of that. From the back we have a mind map, which again would start at the very beginning of a project, which shows a student really exploring that theme and all the possible starting points within that theme. Below that on the right, we've got a mood board where a student has selected relevant images. Again, that would be near the beginning of a project to inspire and influence and inform. And then they're annotating that with just brief notes identifying how those images connect to their theme. And just on the left here, we've got a student who's just documenting where they're at in a project. They're looking at the ideas they've explored, the techniques that they're using, and they're considering how they move forward. They're also, very importantly, making connections between the artists they've looked at and the work that they are now producing and where they're going forward. Finally, we've got a couple of examples of 2 very, very different outcomes. Over on the left, we have a beautiful painting, which was very, very large. It was about AO square in size, and it was a combination of a very long project of a student from last year, again, part of the personal investigation project, which is the extended 60% project. And over on the right, we have some stills from a project called Cake Face. Again, it was the personal investigation project, but the final outcome from that project was a video. Very different responses, very different outcomes, because they're very different students with different interests. So how will you study, and what is the course space like? So the course is essentially practical, and there'll be a combination of studio and classroom and workshop time supported by your key lecturer and other support staff. Additionally, you'll visit external galleries and may go on other trips to inform and inspire you. That might be with the college, but that might also be on your own if there are specific things you need to go to. Your timetable consists of 4.5 hours contact time with your lecturer, but you will also need to spend a minimum of 4.5 hours independent study time. That's essential, and students that are looking for a C or above often spend quite a bit more time than that of independent study time because it's a practical subject and it is very time consuming. Again, during the course, like I said, you will explore a wide range of methods, materials and techniques through lots of different workshops. And just, briefly going through them, some of them might include a range of printing techniques, from screen printing to etching. You'll obviously explore painting and photomontage, drawing techniques, lino cuts. We've got ceramics, we've got a wonderful ceramic suite, and you may also explore Photoshop and image manipulation. There will be others too. So what can I do after my course? Well, the majority of our art students go straight on to Art Foundation, and that's one of the unique points of Hastings, is that we have a wonderful foundation course, which is direct progression for you and a very easy and straightforward method of you moving straight on. After foundation, you then go on straight to university to study at degree level. Some of our students take a different path and might go straight to degree, and some may choose other options like apprenticeships or employment, but whatever you choose, we will support you to get there. So what's unique about the course? Well, there are several things. One of the main things is the building. I mean, you're in a wonderful new purpose-built building. It's bright, it's airy. You've got brilliant studios and base rooms. We have Mac suites, we have dark rooms, fantastic printing workshops and ceramic workshops, to name but a few. So we have fantastic facilities. You're taught by a subject specialist who is a practicing creative, and the program is student-led. So we very much focus on encouraging you to explore your interests and to develop as an individual, rather than we dictating to you what you must do and the path you must go in. It's also an in-depth exploration of the subject, and it prepares you for the next steps. So there are additional costs, and I'm not actually going to run through this list right now. That is in the pack. That information is in the introduction pack if you need to go through that. But just to be brief, the cost of that pack will be about £50. It involves buying things like sketchbooks, painting materials and drawing materials. And that's primarily because you, like I said, you will need to spend at least half your time working on your own outside of the college. So you'll need your own equipment. So that's it. That's the end of the Q&A. Like I said, we're going to go straight on to, sorry, that's the end of the, not the Q&A, it's the end of the presentation. We're going to go straight on to the Q&A now. If after that you have any further questions, please do email me at my email address that's listed there. So it's e.pardy@sussexcoast.ac.uk, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So I'm going to stop sharing now and move over to you.
Hi Emma, we have had some questions through, so if I just read them out to you.
Brilliant.
No worries, we had a couple. So which shop would you recommend to buy supplies from?
Oh gosh, okay, that's quite a good one, because there are so many. Obviously, we're in a unique situation at the moment, and it really, number one, if we weren't in this situation, I would say to you, well, it depends where you live. I mean, I personally live in Brighton. I have lots of choices of art shops to go to and visit to buy equipment. But you may not live in a town or a city. What I would say at the moment, because of the corona situation, is actually the internet is a wonderful resource for you. And there are many, many art shops where you can buy equipment. Some are local. I use one called CAS, that's C-A-S, but there will be many others. So literally, if you just Google art shops or art equipment, even to be honest, WH Smith's isn't too bad for some equipment. They're pretty good for reasonably priced sketchbooks. The thing you need to be careful when you're buying sketchbooks is that the weight of paper is substantial enough, and that should be around 60 grams per page. Otherwise, it's too thin to use mixed media on. But yeah, if you're still struggling, please do email me, and I can email you out a list of some possible art shops that would be very useful for you.
Okay, so another one. We slightly miss our maths GCSE. Can we still join the course?
Okay, that's an interesting one. And I'm not entirely sure on that one. So what I'll have to say to you is, as far as I know, to study at at A level, on the A level program. Like I said, there is that entry requirement of those 5 GCSEs. The only stipulation I was given, I've been given by my manager, is that English. I was also under the assumption that did include maths, but it may possibly be that that's changed. So what you might need to do now is, if you do join the course, you may need to resit your maths. I know that it wouldn't be an option just to not do maths, because then to move forward, to go on to degree, you have to have maths and English. So that, I think, we'll need checking with Chantella Telly. She's the head of curriculum, and she'll be able to give you a definitive answer. But my understanding would be that even if you did enrol, you would have to resit maths. It's something that you'd need to move on.
Okay, and on to our last question. What is your favourite part of the course?
Okay, my favourite part of the course is, I love doing going through the initial experiments with you. So the beginning part of the first year is very much about exploring different techniques and processes. And it's funny because a lot of first year students find that quite scary. They're used to working in GCSE, where you stick within your comfort zone. You work in what you are already good at. Now, the problem is you can't stay at that level, because if you just stayed at that level of what you're good at GCSE, you wouldn't actually get a good A level. So that first 2 terms really is about me pushing your comfort zone, me supporting you kind of from the back, and encouraging you to go out of that comfort zone, try new things, try things you aren't good at, so that your skills develop, so that your understanding and exploration broadens and opens up, and you become a much more experienced creative human being. That's one of my main bits I love of the course. But then I also love watching all my students develop as individuals, as individual creatives, and start building their own confidence to take on projects, take on concepts, to take on artwork in their own way. And that's a really rewarding thing to see.
Great, thank you. If you want to wrap up now, that would be great.
Okay, so it's been a very bizarre experience, because obviously I can't see you, and it would be really nice to meet you. I hope I've answered all of your questions, but if I haven't, like I said, please do email me, and that's e.pardy@sussexcoast.ac.uk, and I'll be really happy to get back to you and answer any of your queries. Thank you very much. Bye.